Coach, thanks a lot for coming back. How are you, man?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
We're okay, Sean. And, boy, we sure wish we were talking to you about something different than this, but the injuries have been stunning. We've been doing this a long time, Mason and I, and we can never remember this many injuries this early in the season. I know your attitude is next man up, but you, Sean, this is extraordinary. You've had so many injuries that do you as the coach now have to kind of go back to the drawing board and simplify things because you have so many new players, or not so much? How do you tackle that?
Oh no, without a doubt. I mean, listen, you guys been doing it for a while. I've been around this game my whole life. I've never seen anything like it, but it is our reality, and the season goes on. And I think the first thing is I feel terrible for the amount of work, time, dedication, and effort that goes into it for these players that are missing time for things that are out of their control, just based on how this game can be played and some of the unforeseen and unfortunate consequences. But this is incredibly different than what the plans were based on a significant amount of players. I'm not going to make it an excuse. We have to do a better job. We have to figure out how to adjust and adapt. But to sit here and act like you can operate as you were planning on is absolutely not the case. You have to readjust, and you basically have to start to build a new foundation because there isn't one set with a lot of the guys that are playing.
Coach, I'm going to be optimistic. Cooper Kupp was not put on the IR. Does that mean that he could be available before the bye week?
No, not before the bye week, but there's a possibility after the bye week.
So, Coach, you mentioned that you've got to kind of rebuild the foundation. Is it I know this might be a stupid question, but is it back to fundamentals? You obviously played, you were a really good high school player. Do you find yourself when you got a brand new guy, maybe an offensive lineman that comes in, he doesn't know your scheme, doesn't know anything? Are you going back and looking at plays that when you were in college or in high school, or am I making it too simple?
I mean, what you have to do is you have to establish core fundamentals and techniques within the framework of how you want to operate. And so much of what this, what entails, good continuity offensively is guys playing together, especially as it relates to the offensive line. Well, that's never been existent in this group, whether it be off-season, training camp, or now in the season. And so starting to establish, a rapport between a left tackle, a left guard and a center and a right guard, a right tackle and a right guard, that's key and critical with those fundamentals. Matthew getting comfortable with playing with receivers that, some of which he's worked with, and then there's a handful that he really hasn't worked with. And so there's a lot of new moving parts. We've obviously had some injuries to our corner spot defensively, but no matter what, the season goes on, and we've got to do a good job of figuring out how to pour into guys, how to try to accelerate their development, and do as good as we can of getting the most out of this group, and that's what we're tasked with.
I would argue that, and you may or may not agree with me, but I would argue that the way Kyler Murray played on Sunday, he ended up with like a perfect quarterback rating. I think on that day, he just had a spectacular day, and he would have beaten anybody in the league. What do you think?
I think he had an outstanding day. I think he did a great job, and he deserves a ton of credit for the plays that he made. And you see, when he gets going, he's as dangerous as it gets. And, that's why you're able to have those rare days. Certainly we can play better. I know we can do better, but you give him a ton of credit. Every week is a new week. Those matchups are so key and critical on a week-to-week basis. And how you play in that 3-hour window of time is such an indicator of whether or not you come away with that result you want. And they certainly did what they wanted in both phases. And they got after us, and we make no excuses. We have to be able to learn from it and move forward.
Sean McVay is our guest. He joins us each and every week, head coach of the Rams. And, Sean, we're biased, obviously. We think you're a top coach in the NFL, right at the top of the list. I would put Kyle Shanahan right there next to you. This is the classic worthy opponent, in my opinion. I know you respect all the coaches, but this guy, I know you worked with him and you know him a little bit, but this guy's the real deal, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, he's as good as it gets. I feel the same way in regards to the respect that you have for Kyle. The feelings that I have and that you have are very similar. The respect is through the roof. I learned a lot, working for him. And then you just see the way that his teams play and the discipline, the detail, the way that he's able to put great players in positions to thrive and succeed. his understanding of all parts of this game, his ability to manage a game. He's checking all the boxes. Nothing but respect from me as it relates to Kyle.
Sean, they're going to be – I just got a report. There are going to be several 49ers fans at the game on Sunday. And obviously they travel really well. I've been at these games. I'll be there on Sunday. But what's the impact of having so many of the opposing fans in the stadium?
What did your report say?
That these people wearing red have somehow figured a way to get their hands on
tickets.
A lot of tickets.
They've got tickets, and they're coming, Sean.
Yeah, well, they do a great job. I always used to get upset. Rest in peace from Grandpa, but I told him, I said, the success you guys had, there's an amazing fan base that's been established on the West Coast and really in general for the 49ers. They're a national brand. They do a great job traveling, and they certainly have done a great job traveling to L.A., and, that's tough, but, respect to them.
Sean, last thing for me, you obviously are working with a patchwork on both the offense and the defense, but is there anybody that's jumped out at you on your team that has impressed you? I know these are both losses, and in your world, there's no such thing as a moral victory, but I think Jared Verse has had some moments. I think some other guys have done some things. Who's jumped out in your mind as somebody that's made an impact so far?
Yeah, it certainly hasn't been all bad. I think Jared Verse, you mentioned, I think Quentin Lake's been outstanding for the first couple weeks. You look at it, I think, that there has been, some definite bright spots, but ultimately we want to play better. I think, I got to do a better job of coaching and leading, and I'm looking forward to just going back to work. And that's all I know how to do. These guys have the right spirit, but, Quentin Lake is another guy that's really been a bright spot, when you ask the question that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, the other guy that I wanted to throw out was Colby Parkinson, who came over from Seattle. He's made some really great catches. Is he a guy that you see, especially with Tyler Higbee out, making more, and also Puka out and Cooper Kupp out, that Colby Parkinson could see more action?
He is. I think that's a good point. I've been really pleased with Colby. Big target, good ability to produce in both phases. I've really liked what we've seen from him. Not surprised based on just kind of his ascension and emergence with some of the things he was able to do at Seattle. But we're glad that he's here, and he is another guy that definitely comes to mind. I'm glad you brought him up.
All right, Coach, I will be there on Sunday. I'm super excited for the game. Reset the season, beat the Niners. Thank you very much for coming on.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, there's Coach Sean.